to do 3 episodes.
That's what I feel. He's an unofficial co-host now.
All right, everyone, we are live on the interwebs. Welcome, everyone, to our Thirsty Thursday for June. That is this month, correct? This year. Oh, God. Anyway, this is our Thirsty Thursday for June. Thank you so much. We have Josh Wallace joining us today. He is the writer, director of the 2021 film, right? 2021?
It's one of the years.
One of those years.
One of these recent years that we've had. They're all kind of 1 year. I don't know if they ever stopped. If it ever changed over, if it rolled over.
It's wild because the best of for every year, like this has popped up this year and last year. Last year I was at fault and I was like, oh, so we can't agree on the year? That's fine. What?
I do it all the time. Yeah. But yeah, the film is Keeping Company, which we'll get to talk about that in a minute. But first, we're going to start where we start with every one of our guests. Josh, what's your favorite scary movie?
Yeah, what a crazy hard question. Do people have legitimately this is it answers?
It goes back. They're either like this is it because I've loved it since I was 12, or it could be 30 different films.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like there's so many. But the one I always keep going back to, which I think is up on my wall up there right there, is The Thing. And I love The Thing, and to me encapsulates almost all of horror, in the sense of it being a monster movie, also a psychological thriller, the space that it takes place in. It's just one of those, to me, it's like just an all around perfect, movie. So I do lean towards The Thing when I'm asked this question. I think in other senses, I might say like The Sixth Sense, and that's just for me as a kid, like a movie that like had the most impact upon seeing it for the first time. Blair Witch was another kind of big impactful movie, seeing as a child, which you shouldn't see as a child.
We were all scarred. It's fine. That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Well, my dad. I don't know if you guys remember this. In the DVD of the Blair Witch, they had another smaller kind of like fake documentary that was about them finding the footage. So it like made it seem like it was real. So my dad had us watch that first, and then we watched the movie. So it was like it only like made it feel like this is real, like what, and I'm like 8 years old or whatever,
right?
Yeah, it was very impactful at a young age.
Yes, I love all 3 of those. Those are great picks.
Yeah.
So hello Jamie, by the way, before we skip past that awesome comment. What's your favorite subgenre? Is it monsters? Is it psychological? Is it supernatural?
This is a good question too. It's a weird one, and I don't even know if this is a subgenre, but for whatever reason I love when I come across these types of movies, but I think of them as like sweaty horror, which is like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Hills Have Eyes, stuff where you're just like, it's almost taking a lot of it, or some of it's taking place during the day, and it just feels sweaty and gross. I think like High Tension was another one for me that just like feels sweaty for some reason. I think because of the villain and that, and all of these, it's usually the villain. But like those types, I like anytime I come across that.
That's really funny that you bring that up, because Sharai and I recently, in the past like week, hosted a event online with Soho Horror Fest in the UK, and one of the topics we discussed was sweaty horror.
Really?
And what movies?
That's a thing?
Yeah, we talked about it.
That's amazing. I'm so glad.
So we've now come full circle for the month of June, and it is sweaty horror. You're all welcome.
I'm about to wrap it.
That is the theme for Pride Month 2022, sweat.
Part of me was hoping that like I had just coined the term sweaty horror, so I could write like a thesis paper about it, but
I don't think it's been trademarked yet, so you might look that up.
I'm going for it.
You should claim it.
I am. It's going to be mine, so that's what I'm going to be known for.
Love it. So you talked about your dad and the Blair Witch Project, but is that kind of your horror origin story? What got you into the genre?
I mean, that played a really big part. But I think overall, Devin and I, growing up, we're both very comedy centric people. And I think, gravitating towards horror as another kind of genre to love just came from like the fact that both of those genres elicit big reactions, so I think there's something about it in terms of like being able to evoke those kind of reactions out of people in some ways is I don't know, like there's just something like in seeking those kind of reactions in ourselves. I know, but do you guys remember the show Fear on MTV?
Yeah.
I loved the show Fear on MTV. We're like, yeah, it was so good. And me and my friends, we would just like do stuff like that. Where it's like, all right, you got to sit in the garage in the dark, tied to this chair for an hour. Can you do it? Like, and to try and like scare ourselves.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's just that adrenaline rush is so good.
I haven't thought of Fear in forever, but I'm pretty sure it's the reason I know what a GoPro is.
Yeah.
Because I love the GoPro.
That's so funny. I don't remember that, but I'm sure I watched it. I just don't remember it. But all right, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about your work for a little bit. So, number one, how'd you get started in filmmaking and writing? And tell us about your work in general before we get into your keeping company.
Yeah. So, I mean, it started back in college, went to film school in college, a small college in Minnesota, and taught us how to be just scrappy filmmakers. And so immediately moved out to LA after graduating, started shooting. I was doing stand-up at the time and started shooting sketches with a bunch of friends from the stand-up community, and then Funny or Die took notice of those. So then we started making sketches for Funny or Die and did that for a couple of years. And then I met Devin kind of around this time. I got a job as a director's assistant on a studio comedy. And Devin was also working as a director's assistant. And our bosses were working together. And that's kind of how we came together to kind of, we decided to start writing together and trying some different things out, wrote a few pilots, kind of got frustrated with the, Hollywood, like how long things take, how long it takes somebody to read something, whatever, blah, 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 decided to take matters into our own hands. And that's kind of where, Keeping Company was born from. So yeah.
Make it yourself. I love that. So speaking of Keeping Company, this wild movie, where did the idea come from? Like what spawned this creation?
It was, I believe Devin and I were sitting in there was a Whole Foods. We were in a Whole Foods, which is where most, all horrors kind of originate from. And Devin was talking about this weird, like it was like an Adult Swim type idea of like a guy trapped in a house. And then we kept riffing on it and whatnot. And I told him, I was like, hey, we should make a movie. Like, we need to make a movie. I was kind of like a little frustrated at the time. And like, we should just make a movie. And then we kind of landed that day on like a buddy comedy, because that's where we came from. We came from the comedy world. So it's this buddy comedy about two friends getting themselves trapped in a stranger's basement. And we wrote that. We did 4 drafts of that. And kind of as we were going through the writing process, themes kept coming in, like darker themes and stuff kept creeping in, and we were like, why do we keep writing? Why does this keep kind of poking its head out? And we just sat down, had a conversation, and we're like, let's lean into that. Let's just, if we're going to make this movie, if we're deciding to step out, like, let's take some swings and try and do something different or weird or unique. So we just started to really lay into those themes. that we saw coming out, and that's where like now what Keeping Company is today, where you see the insurance world, the corporate world, the dog eat dog mentality that just exists throughout the whole film. We just played into our themes, and that's kind of a long-winded way of saying we two guys getting kidnapped is what it started from.
I love it.
I can see that whole in it. I can.
Yeah, it's definitely. We didn't leave it out. Like, yeah, it's in there.
So I gotta know: are there any funny or fun backstage stories that you could tell us about the filming process of the?
Man, I'm trying. It was so like, it's one of those things where it's like such an amazing experience because it was our first feature, and for a lot of the people who were on the film, kind of stepping into like the larger roles for their first feature as well, and it was just a blur of time, and as indie filmmaking is, where it's just like constantly fire after fire, trying to do that while making a movie and putting out fires at the same time. And we didn't do ourselves any help with the script in terms of like we really made it like there's like 4 storylines going on throughout the whole film, and it's like, so we're we have like 7 or 8 or 9 different locations that we have to kind of keep moving through in 18 days. So it's like, again, it was pretty stressful. I also, like, the first day we shot in that office that was Cast Insurance, and that's just in downtown LA, and it's a building that had like an elevator, but I think it was like maybe 4 days before shooting, the building calls us and they're like, hey, so the elevator's broken, and we had to do we had to get like up. It was 3 stories up, maybe even more, 3 or 4 stories up. So on the day, like I think the day before, elevator wasn't going to be working. They weren't able to fix it. We had to lug up all the equipment, all the production design. Like it was just crazy. And that was kind of like the whole production was us, and we had a good time. It's not like we weren't having a good time, but that's like what I remember from it was like, I don't need to make a movie for a little bit, like
let's take a break.
Let's take a little break.
Just short.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So where can people find Keeping Company? I know it's been through some festival circuits, but where is it located right now?
Yeah, so you can find Keeping Company anywhere you can essentially rent or buy a movie online. Amazon Prime, Apple, Google Play, a bunch of other places, just anywhere you would normally get or rent a film.
Awesome. And where can people follow you on the social media if they want to stay in the loop when you do decide to make another, to take the dive into another film?
Well, me personally, I don't use social media because I'm one of those weird people. But the movie, you can find the movie Keeping Company. I believe it's on Instagram. It's at Keeping Company Movie. I believe that's on Twitter as well. So at Keeping Company Movie.
Cool.
For those, yeah.
Awesome, love it. All right, so moving on, we're going to talk. So, well, like I said, we're kind of in the middle of. I feel like festival season is like becoming constant, like year round. So,
yeah,
it's just the festivals that we go to. But yeah, we're kind of in the middle of that right now. So let's talk about some movies that we found at festivals recently or in the past, whichever, that really resonated with us, that we really liked. Josh, if you want to go first, you can.
Yeah, I didn't see this at festivals, but I think it's a smaller film that I know played at Sundance that I saw earlier this year was Hatching. Did you guys see Hatching?
I didn't get to see it. I was supposed to get a screener and it didn't happen, and I'm still sad.
It's so good. It is, and it's a beautiful. Like they do such a good job with tone and kind of writing the line of it is. It's more horror than comedy, but like the comedic elements work so well in that tone. works so well in that film. So like anybody, I would 100% recommend it to anybody out there. That was definitely certainly one of my favorites of the year so far that I think I've seen.
I think it's streaming now or about to start streaming because like it popped up in something the other day.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you can find it. Yeah, it's worth it. It is 100% worth it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I don't know if anything else is leaping out. So yeah, that would be my recommend.
Good. I need to catch that one.
Yeah. I really, really fell for Blaze last week. Was that last week, Tribeca?
What is time?
At some point this month, Tribeca happened. And I really fell in love with Blaze, which I didn't see coming for me. It's also a very traumatic story, but it's also very beautiful and fantastical about this girl retreating from like the harsh realities of the situation with her dragon, which who doesn't want a dragon when the world is dangerous? Wow. So yeah, definitely content warning, but it's really, really, really good. Yeah.
Yes. I completely agree about Blaze. It was a cinematic masterpiece. I would put frames of that film on my wall. Like that's how beautiful it was. Yeah. I want to shout out from Tribeca as well a film called Attachment, and it's directed and written by I shouldn't even try the name, but I'm going to try it anyway. Gabrielle Beer Gisalison. Beautiful film about family and how family deals with trauma and secrets, and I loved it. It had equal parts. Well, maybe not equal parts comedy and drama, but like there were some funny parts, and it had a lot of heart. And the end of that film, I was gobsmacked, and I very much recommend it. Another one I recommend, which Sharai and I covered on our review for Tribeca, was A Wounded Fawn, which, that is one for the ages.
That was my other movie. I can't say enough how Sarah Lind and Josh Rubin deserve some sort of acting awards for that. I don't know what categories it can find its way in, because we know that bigger award shows don't like genre. But I believe that those actors earned. Also, it's Josh Rubin's birthday. So tell him happy birthday if you see him on the Twitter streets.
Or just scream at him anywhere right now. Happy birthday, Josh.
That's what I do.
You might hear it. You never know.
You never know. People travel.
And sometimes they're on the interwebs. You never know. But that's great. Yes, we love festivals here. I was sad I didn't get to check out any of the shorts at Tribeca. I usually do try to get in some short films just because I think that they're important, and that's where most of the marginalized voices are stuck, unfortunately. I didn't get to this time. I will make that a priority next time for sure.
I only watched 2. I believe we get 3 more days with Tribeca, but also I don't understand time. So I might see if the thing is still open and see if I can track down more, because I didn't love the 2 I saw, but also shorts are usually where it's at. So I know that there's some good stuff somewhere. I just got to figure out what block it's in.
Right.
Did you guys go to Tribeca, or was it just, are you talking about virtually? Okay.
Yeah. No. Like Film Quest is the only one I've gone to like in real time. Everything else has been like straight at a screen in my PJs, which it's not bad, but it's just it's not what I thought festivals would be for me.
Why Film Quest? Why was Film Quest the in-person one?
Oh, I started writing at Dread Central, and they wanted to send somebody out there, and I was like, me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sharai said, I submit myself for tribute.
I will go to Utah, and I will watch movies and talk to people about their movies.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's great. Let's talk about the horror we've been watching or reading or playing or consuming in some way this past June. Josh, what have you been watching or playing or reading or doing, whatever you do?
What is it that I do? I guess, so like early, do you guys, AMC is big everywhere, right? That's that's the chain. We only have one, like there's always only one thing of something in America where it's like, What's the one that's got control of everything?
Right.
It's AMC. Yeah, right. But me and my girlfriend, we have A-list, Stubbs A-list, the thing that lets you see 3 movies a week. And earlier this year, we established, start of the year, we're going to go see every horror film that comes out through AMC. And we've done, the only thing we haven't seen is, the only one we skipped was Firestarter, which I could argue might not actually be a horror, but technically it is.
It's on Peacock, so you don't have to go.
Yeah.
There was a time that happened, and I watched it.
Wow.
We all saw it.
And I got to look at Zac Efron, and I usually don't complain about that. But
yeah,
did I need to watch that? Zac Efron? Anyway.
I did. Was he good? It's such a weird movie for him to be in. Too.
I didn't hate the acting in the film. The writing and the plot is just not. I don't know why they keep trying to make this movie happen. It just doesn't need to happen. I didn't like the first one.
The Fetch is never going to happen.
I didn't like the first one. I didn't love this one. Neither time the acting wasn't my problem. So Zach was fine, but he wasn't given much.
Yeah. But we saw. I was saying that we saw the Black Phone was the one I just saw, and very there's some things I definitely liked that they were doing that felt different or that added. But overall, still I don't know if it fully works. But I don't know how familiar you are with it.
I have access to the novella, but I haven't read it yet. But I want to read it and then watch the movie somehow, some way. It's a very divisive movie, it sounds like, because everybody loves it or they hate it. And you're the first one that's
I can see both. I bet the novella is certainly a better version, or would work better, or translate the story better. One thing they did that because it takes place in the 70s, and a lot of the movie is just kids, children kicking each other's asses. It doesn't, unrelated to, doesn't need to be in the movie, but there's multiple scenes where kids are just going at it in a way.
The kids are assholes. We all know.
Yeah, it's just such a weird. It's I don't know if the filmmakers were trying to just put forward in the 70s kids were rough. You don't know. They would pull out pocket knives and just threaten each other. It's it's intense. That was the scariest part of the movie.
It's very Stephen King universe.
Yeah. How about you all? What are you into right now?
I definitely was expecting to be salty about Stranger Things because each episode is longer than it should be, but it was actually really good and it went by too quickly. And so the second half drops tomorrow and I'll be there to finish it.
I'm not prepared.
I really like this first half, and I know people like to hate it, and I was ready to hate it, but it's good. So who am I? I also revisited the original When a Stranger Calls because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and the first 21 minutes are still the best 21 minutes of any movie ever. Yeah, I gotta
revisit.
I've never seen the original.
She's on Amazon Prime. She's on Tubi and something else. The sequel's also somewhere, and I vaguely remember the opening of that one. But I like the opening of When a Stranger Calls, the original, not the remake. The opening of that is when I found out as a kid horror movies can be scary. Because before that, I was like, Michael Myers is fun, Freddy Krueger's funny, she's a fuckle. And this was guess what, little girl? And I was like, oh
no. Tells from inside the house. Yeah, I don't know that I've seen the original. I've seen the remake, and it's okay. No. I don't hate it and love it. But...
Because I remembered the opening of the original, I found the remake I took it personally. I did. I was like, you went from that to this, which is no one's fault other than me watching it too young as a child. But it still hits. And the rest of the movie, it's very hit and miss because it sort of becomes like a police procedural for a minute, and you're like, nobody wants that. Right. And then at the end, it's like, oh yeah, no, we're still scary. And it's too late. Oh no, you are. Okay, we're done. So It's worth it. It's worth it, especially the first 21 minutes. It's one of those, you turn the lights off, you put your phone down, and you just wait for the nightmares and anxiety. Yeah.
Right.
I need to check that out. All right, so I have been, of course, like Sharai, revisiting Stranger Things, watching what we've got of the 4th season. I don't know that my soul or body are prepared for tomorrow or this weekend when I watch the last 2 episodes, but here we are. And then I also watched on Netflix Disappearance at Clifton Hill, which is a little more true crimey than horror. It's kind of, I don't know, but it is very, I'll say this, in the world of Tiger King. That's what this movie reminded me of. But like, if Carol Bastion killed someone else and not her husband. But
allegedly, there's a giant meat grinder, but we don't know anything, Trent.
But it's got some fun twists and turns and solid performances. It's a solid movie. But yeah, so that's what I've been watching. It's on Netflix if anyone wants to watch it.
Definitely check this out.
Cool. All right.
Ooh,
So
this one's me.
Yay.
Yay.
Sharai.
Yes, like from the audience, I had a question. Because Keeping Company reminded me of a darker version of The Office. And of course, we're living in a time where the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air got a drastic reimagining. I thought it'd be cool to discuss 30-minute comedies that could stand to get a little bit bloodier and darker. Do we have any sitcoms we would like to see like really go for it?
I think it would be really funny to watch if they got bloodier.
Which one?
I want to see a horror version of Will and Grace.
Oh man,
Yes. Yes.
that would be amazing.
Or Friends. Friends would also be a good horror remake.
Almost any of those 90s, early aughts, would be. Seinfeld would be really fun tonally, of just people getting hung up on the small details of murder. Where it's,
I would still be rooting for Elaine. I don't know if she's right or wrong. I'm just always in her corner. What?
Yeah.
What about Cheers? A bunch of drunk people get murdered.
That'd be a good one.
No, the one that I would like to see is the Golden Girls. Because we don't have enough older women slashers, and so if we could do that. Yeah.
Like just them taking out wealthy old men that certainly deserve it, in a Dexter style.
Yes, it could be like a Tragedy Girls / Golden Girls meet up. So
Yeah.
Blanche is the bait, and she's bringing home these men, and they're getting them out of the kitchen, and Sophia's making soups and stews, and I want that.
I love it. I would watch that.
I would pay.
What else would be fun?
I keep thinking, for whatever reason, my head's stuck in Seinfeld. I murdered somebody with a steak knife, and it's like, well, you can't murder somebody with a steak knife. You got to use a human knife, and it's like, well, what's a human knife? All knives are human knives. You can't just murder. You wouldn't use a butter knife to cut a steak, so you would use a steak knife to murder a human. You can just see them getting so focused on the small.
While their victim is just being tied up. Or something.
Yeah. Can you kill me here?
That's good.
I would watch that. I would watch that 100%. Yeah.
Yes. Going back to my Will and Grace idea, I think it's not necessarily just Will and Grace. It's a spinoff, or it's Jack and Karen.
Oh, yes.
And they're the murderers going around murdering people, and Will and Grace are their first victims.
Oh wow!
That almost happened on the show a few times. So I can see that.
What else?
Are there any current? There's no current good ones.
One that just wrapped would have been Superstore. Can you imagine murdering people in a box store?
Yeah, that would be fun. It'd be interesting. How do you get away with that? Or contained horror in a box. I'm trying to think what you do. Do you get for whatever reason that makes me think of The Mist? And they're trapped in the grocery store.
I just rewatched that movie recently. I don't know what I watched this month. I did not like it.
I've only watched it once. It stressed me out because grocery shopping just is not my ministry. I do it because I have to eat, but I don't enjoy it. And so to be stuck there, I would have taken my chances. I would have taken my chances. I would be like, let me out. It can't be worse than hell.
The religious lady person was so good, like to almost the film's detriment, was so good at being hateable that like it makes the movie hard because you're like, God, this lady is so
shoot her already.
Get her out of here. Yeah.
Why is she still alive? Yes.
Family Matters. Can you imagine Urkel being a murderer and his catchphrase is "Did I do that?" He talks to himself.
Yeah. Did I do that? That's so
sister,
funny.
sister. But only one of them is the killer.
Oh, that's intriguing. That is intrigue.
Listen.
Which one's doing it?
There's just so many.
There are. I feel like comedy and horror, we've talked about this before, but how it's so easily blendable and how strange that is that it is easily blendable between comedy. Because you wouldn't logically think horror and comedy are like, oh, they're similar, but like they really are. And I feel like the same kind of character structures and the same kind of like build up and payoff work the same in both genres. You're just getting different responses.
Yeah, I think it's. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I have another suggestion. You're actually under conversation. Go for it.
I mean, in that, like, it's that both, involve heightening reality, in a sense, right? And I think that's kind of why they translate so well together in terms of like they're both doing that to extremes, and horror also, in a sense, when you like get to a certain point in horror, a response is laughter. It is comedy because it's uncomfortable, like at some points where it's just like, yeah, I just have to laugh because I don't know what else to do. Where it's like you're watching Hereditary, and like some of the stuff in Hereditary, you're almost like, this is so heightened, that it almost falls back around to being funny, but it's horrifying too at the same time. Like,
that poll will never not be funny to me.
Yeah.
The memes alone. No, but when she said she doesn't want to be his mother, I giggle a little bit every time. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's funny.
You know.
No.
Or maybe we're not normal. That's the other version of it, is that we're there's something wrong with us.
There probably is.
That's probably
yeah, no, I accept it. Another show I think would be a cool murder situation would be You're the Worst. Aya Cash plays Gretchen in that show, and she's very much into like true crimes anyways. So like I could see them just being like, what?
Natural fit.
Right? Let's lean into that. Also,
let's take it animated. Let's go with the modern or the Proud Family.
Oh wow.
I'll allow it.
My grandma could be doing some stuff. That's all I gotta say.
I don't trust grandmas.
I'm trying to think of like what animated or like. I'm also trying to get it out of like murder, like if you did like the Jetsons, but now we're in like a robot like apocalypse type thing, or like a alien type, lost in space.
A xenomorph gets put into the chest.
Could you see the Deadly Smurfs? Can you imagine if they turn on their own?
Oh,
when they kill people, they turn blue.
Yeah. It's like Papa Smurf said, "You're the enemy now." Can you imagine?
Like truly, if you saw the Smurfs out in the wild, I'm very uncomfortable with like little blue things that wear diapers. Like that's not gonna like. Not only on, but like on some of them on their heads too, right? Or all of them? I don't know. Like that's uncomfortable.
There's a lot to unpack in that show already, and I think that it deserves to be the thriller it wants to be.
They wrote that to be scary, and it just became a children's show for some
I
reason.
mean, a lot of those like 70s, 60s cartoons, they're really kind of scary. Rainbow Bright? Rainbow Bright.
Don't bring that up.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
If we want to stay the animated route, I also feel like Rugrats, because Tommy was definitely a little cult leader in training.
Oh yeah.
So let him have it.
That episode where was it that Chucky was never born, or was it? Like that episode is actually just scary. Like I remember being like worried as a child watching that episode.
I tried to rewatch it as an adult, and I was like, "This is making me anxious. How did I watch this as a child?" Because there's a lot of real world problems interpreted through babies. I was like, "I don't know.
Yeah.
No, stop."
That's like actually like thinking about like Courage the Cowardly Dog, like a show that's meant to be, you know, and was effective at that too, like being weirdly scary, like that we're still watching as young teens and whatnot. But
Cat Dog.
That's basically Human Centipede already. So
yeah.
Might as well.
A live action Cat Dog.
Nobody
Oh
knows.
man, yeah, no one's.
Oh. This got dark sided.
Yeah, we.
Only for the fact that nobody could deal with like both. Like, it's there's only, you know, there's two sides to the coin, so it's like it is almost like a perfect horror film because you're gonna upset somebody, like, you know, pretty much. There's such a few small group of people that are okay with both cats and dogs, so it's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing.
Right.
Mr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Yeah.
Choose your death situation. Killed by the dog side or killed by the cat side. Would you rather? That's the title of the movie.
But also, like, let's revisit Doug Funny for a minute, because was Mr. Dink not giving us serial killer energy?
Oh yeah. That's a weird. Yeah, that'd be a weird universe for horror. A perfect one, but like weird.
Getting out of animated for a second. Boy Meets World.
Oh yeah. No. You know Sean and Corey were the Billy and Stu of their day.
What was the Halloween episode of that where Sean was the? Did they use Ghost? I think they used Ghostface in that episode. I don't know if you guys remember that.
So long.
I haven't seen it in forever, but I think they did, or something really close to it.
Yeah, where they were getting killed off. It was such a good episode. What a good show, but
childhood.
When they rebooted it with, oh my God, Girl Meets World, I was very nervous, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is wholesome, and they were like, pull the plug, and I was like, that was a roller coaster for no reason. You could have just said you weren't gonna do it.
Look what you did to me.
Right.
William Russ, who in Boy Meets World, in Keeping Company as well. When he came on set, I was very. It was such a weird thing. It's like, I watched you growing up, and now I'm talking to you. It's weird. Also, like, I don't know if you've seen American History X, but William Russ in American History X is not the William Russ that he is in Boy Meets World, and so you're like, this is like that really ruined you for me.
Been through a whole journey with you.
Yeah, been through a whole. I don't know how to feel about seeing you in person right now.
I love when actors do something completely out of pocket, because you're like, oh, they're always this like certain PG-13 Disney princess, and you turn on this movie and they're like slaughtering people. They're giggling, and you're like, what is this? What is this bloody good time?
We had Saved by the Bell, and then she went to Showgirls.
Saved by the Bell was basically a horror show, because Zach was the worst. There was a whole channel for Zach being the worst on Facebook.
Zach was an asshole. Yeah.
He always was. He was always plotting something for who knows why.
And then blaming someone else for it. It's weird. It is what it is. Any last minute additions we can think of?
Nothing from me.
All right. Well, we asked this from all of our Thirsty Thursday guests. When, and I said the word when, not if, when you're on a regular episode of the show, what films would you like to cover?
Ooh, could we do sweaty horrors? Can we do it? You guys, does that count? Can we talk about that? That or I love talking about which is high tension, like the French New Wave extremism that was like of the early aughts, like Martyrs, Irreversible, like all the kind of like elevated gore films that were coming out of Europe at that time, which are it's brutal, but like just an interesting period. I think would be cool to talk about with people, because I did write a paper for in college, and people were upset that I chose that as a subject matter for a college paper. But, we got to do what we got to do.
Right, you're in college. You should expect that.
Like, that's the best revenge. It's like, oh, I'll just go direct horror movies.
I mean, it was like, it's a weird thing. It is a weird choice to kind of be like, well, here's what my theory on, these gore movies and stuff like that. Like, I was being a little uppity about it, so I give them credit for kind of humbling me.
I need to look more into French New Wave. The only one I'm familiar with is High Tension.
Same.
I don't know that I've heard the names of the other ones, but I've never watched them.
I tried to watch one with Jazz from Girl That's Scary, and I was one of the many people that tapped out. I think it was. Is it Irreversible? Or
Irreversible is so hard.
I was fine. Like, we open in a weird scene, and like people are naked talking about family members, and I'm like, this is very uncomfortable. But you know what? I'm here. And then the camera started spinning, and then they went to like the club, and like I just saw there was a lot of naked people and the spinning, and I was like, I gotta do one or the other. I can't do all of this.
Nudity of the spins are not Sheray's spins.
You gotta pick or choose. You can have one lane.
Sheray cannot get really drunk at a nudist colony, or she's just.
The camera was just doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
It was like spinning.
Right? It's like, I'm not this drunk. I know I'm not this drunk.
Nice. And of course, we always love a sweaty horror.
That was sweaty. As it was spinning.
Do two birds with one stone.
Like, horrors that take place during the day are also like an interesting, like, if I don't know how, like, what there are, if there are examples of that, or like that day, Midsommar is like that look of daytime horror, which, like, again, it's just uncomfortable for whatever reason. When there's sunlight, it's like, this is uncomfortable.
Texas Chainsaw is a great example of that, and the remake. That's one of the few remakes I actually really like.
Yeah, I think that remake, that original one with
Jessica Biel,
was pretty decent.
Yeah, I think daytime horror like hits a nerve because we're told we're safer in the daytime.
Right.
Even as kids, we're like, if I stay up till the daytime, Jason won't get me. And I'm just like, he doesn't have office hours,
Right. But that is
7 a.m. We gotta get out of here.
Right. That is why that scene in the new Scream movie. No spoilers, but Sheriff Judy. I was like,
I was living. Ghostface was like, fuck you and your lemon squares.
Yes. All right. Sharai, do you have anything else before we get to our final thing?
No. This has been awesome because we're going to do something weird. You are free to stay or you are free to go. If you decide to leave, it's awesome.
Can I hear what you're doing first?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to spin around.
We're just going to turn our monitors.
Yeah, you said you're in a sweaty horror. I don't understand. We're about to pick our next 4 movies to cover on the podcast. And so, it's summer, so we're trying to mix it up instead of having our regimented like themes picked out ahead of time. So we're going to spin a wheel with 8 movies we've picked. Each of us got 4. And whatever the wheel decides, that's what we're going to record this weekend. So we can get those up and going starting next week. So yeah.
I would love to see what this
All
is
right.
exciting.
It could be a hot mess. It could be fun. Either way.
Yeah.
You never know.
Where's the wheel? Is this a
pull it
physical wheel?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a digital wheel. Everything's virtual because there's no fun.
I'm leaving. It's not a real wheel.
No, can you imagine if Vanna White started out and you're like, what is this show?
There's just been another person in a wheel right off your screen the whole time, just waiting.
Right? I'm just waiting for their cue, and they're like, oh.
There's our wheel.
Ooh. Do you want to read the titles, Trent? Because I don't have my glasses, and I know I'm not the oldest person watching.
All right, we have 10 titles. Sharai picked 5, and I picked 5, and I think we're choosing 5 or.
Yeah, let's do 5, and that way, if one of the 4 is not right, we are covered.
That's a good plan. Yes. So, our options are, and I went back and forth, so you can't tell who chose what, or you might still be able to tell who chose what. But the options are American Psycho, Paranormal Activity 4, Antlers, The Free Fall, Poltergeist 2, The Call from 2020, Resident Evil, Hellraiser, and Stigmata. Kind of all over the place.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Are we? I think that's all of them. Oh, and Audition. That's the 10th one. Audition. Just to give us some foreign films to whet our appetite.
There's no rhyme or reason.
All right, let's see what our first film is.
Look at this high-tech situation.
Oh,
now it's going.
She heard me talking shit.
I needed to warm up a little bit. Oh,
what does that mean?
Paranormal Activity 4.
Yes! Oh my God, yes. Thank you. Oh my God. We just did the first 3 and I wanted to finish it because I'm living my best life.
Sharai, are you writing these down?
Huh?
Which one is 4?
Is it the one with the shed situation? I don't want to.
Is there a subtitle to it? I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Thank you. Because we did 1 and we did 2 and then we did 3 with the creepy girls in the 80s. Why don't I remember 4? I think I got 4 and 5 mixed up all the time.
No, it's just Paranormal Activity 4. The picture is. Oh,
it's the same.
I don't remember that. So this would be a good one to revisit because I don't remember it.
We'll see how this goes. All right, so number 1 film choice chosen, Paranormal Activity 4. So hide that one.
This is just a website you go to and you enter.
Yeah, it's called pickerwheel.com.
I need to use this for my life decisions.
All right. All right, Hellraiser it is.
Wow.
It likes the franchises.
It does. All right, so Hellraiser will be our second film coming up next month. Sharai, you got that one written down?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is really exciting for Chicken Salad Chick here at the bottom getting some free.
Drive through or dine in. He is versatile. Number 3. Okay, American Psycho.
Okay.
All right. And number 4.
Which one's The Call? I don't know if I've heard of that.
I think it's the Halle Berry one. I've never actually seen it.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it a few months ago. It's really good.
Or is it the Korean one? I need to look at the notes to know for sure.
Well, we're going to find out.
Listen.
Wow.
We will be finding out.
I think it's the South Korean one.
That seems
Okay.
right. The Halle Berry one feels older.
I don't know why I had to, like, I don't think I need to say South Korean because I don't think you would assume that it's North Korean. Like, you know?
They sent us one specifically to Fear Street to give us the true horror of North Korea.
No, but
Although if like a horror movie came out of North Korea, it would probably be pretty crazy.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, here is our alternate. If we have issue finding one of these four, our alternate film will be oh.
Oh.
Poltergeist 2 is our alternate. All right, that's our July. We got lots of America. We got American Psycho. We got
Right.
Paranormal Activity. We got a little bit of everything.
What a
I'm
great
not gonna-
time to celebrate America. The horror that is this country.
The horror that is.
The horror that always is.
All right. All right. Well, that's what we're doing for July. Just a reminder, we're doing Paranormal Activity 4, Hellraiser 1, American Psycho 1, The Call from 2020, and the alternate, if we have issue finding one of those, is Poltergeist 2.
Lots of math, lots of numbers.
I said my American Psycho 1. There are sequels, but I have never seen one of them.
I believe there's
wow.
2 now. And I think the second one, I think that we have a woman who's murdering
I
people.
think that's right. Yeah.
So I want to see it, but I've never seen it streaming, and I don't know if I should pay for a sequel to something so old.
Yeah. Especially when
You
the
know-
first one didn't really need a sequel. I mean, it is what it is.
No.
Yeah.
But all right, well, that looks like an interesting July happening for us.
Listen, I'm a little salty the Free Fall didn't win, but I got Paranormal Activity 4, so I'm not too salty.
You had, I think 3 of your picks, didn't you?
Let me look at the list again. Hold,
I
please.
think you did Paranormal Activity 4, Hellraiser, and The Call, and I did American Psycho and Poltergeist 2.
If I did the call, then it's definitely the Korean one.
You did
I
that,
don't-
yeah.
I can see myself putting Hellraiser on there now that you said that, but I didn't think that was me. I thought it was you, and I was like, "Damn, this Will's a Taurus."
Have you all seen the Free Fall?
Yes, I loved it.
Yeah.
Have
Is
you
it
seen
good?
it?
I have
No, but it looks intriguing.
Okay, so it was also at Film Quest with your movie, actually,
Oh.
which is how I got to see it, and I really, really liked it. And it hit Hulu this month at some point, but like life was awful, so I haven't revisited it. But I'm gonna make friends watch it with me on Clubhouse soon. So, yeah. Yeah.
That may be a watch party. You never know.
Listen, it was going to be when I thought we were going to have him in July, and then I looked at our lives and was like, no.
No.
Right?
We have things happening, everyone. We're very sorry.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Quite literally.
But just the bad parts with no
Yeah,
closure.
All right. Well, that has been our July Thirsty, or not July, our June.
Wow.
I just jumped. I've been talking
That
about
would have
July.
been
Anyway,
Thursday. I would have left. I'd be like, I don't do that show anymore.
We all need to like relearn calendars. Like we need to take our
Clocks
time.
and,
Yeah, clocks.
you know,
No, listen.
That's too much.
I walked
Too much
into
right
a
now.
room today at work, and the clock had apparently died, and some of the battery died, and I looked at it and I was like, "Wait a second, it is not 8:25 right now. That is dark sided, and that needs to stop." Yeah, me and time right now are not on good
Not
terms.
doing well.
Not doing well. Anyway, this has been our June Thirsty Thursday. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Josh, for joining us. It's been a blast.
course.
We'll have to have you on again.
Would love
Maybe
it.
with Devin. Maybe without Devin.
Oh,
maybe.
No, me and Devin together were a classic pair, like ketchup and more ketchup. A bunch of ketchup.
I love ketchup. I'm down. All right, our next episode. We haven't finished our Patreon poll yet, have we, Sharai? For our Patreon,
it's got another 11 hours, so they can vote if they are so inclined. Right now, the original Suspiria is winning, and I'm okay with that. That was a good episode, and it's a good movie. Yay for Giallo.
I loved it. Yeah, Giallo all the way. But yeah, you have 11 more hours to vote, so go vote on Twitter. Your options are Suspiria, the original, It, the miniseries, The Lodge, and Fresh are the 4 options you have from our Patreon exclusive episodes that we're opening up and giving to our main line listeners, main feed. That's the word I was looking for. Main feed listeners. It got there eventually. And then after that, get ready for Paranormal Activity 4.
It's going to be a good time. Like, I was talking to Ryan and a couple other people about how we wish we were doing the next one, and the wheel heard me. So, yay. Thinking a franchise.
Yes. All right. Again, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Josh, for joining us.
Of course.
And
make sure y'all see Keeping Company. Like, literally. It's funny. It's dark. Josh directed it.
And co-wrote it. So there you go.
Yeah.
And it's on. You can get it on Prime, Google, Apple, all the things.
All the movie places.
Blockbuster, maybe. You never know. I don't know that they're still a thing, but maybe
there's one out there. I don't know if they do DVDs or not. I think there's one out there.
They just do popcorn.
They just have a DVD. But yeah, no, like get you some workplace horror. Horror on the clock is a real thing, especially when it's funny. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. All right, everyone. As always, make sure you stay fierce out there.
Bye.